Hi, in this video I'll talk about weekly and daily habits to boost your language learning. This is not only about language learning techniques, I'll also be talking about ways to improve your motivation and emotional connection you have with the language, as well as how to avoid distractions when you're learning that language. First of all, I want to remind you that it's really important to have a daily language learning habit. I know it can sound tough to find time every day for your studies, but let's be honest, it takes quite a lot of time to learn a language, at least to get to a high level, and you need a lot of repetition. And the way to get that time is to study daily, or at least almost daily. The progress you get from a daily habit kind of makes the learning more fun. Progress feels good. On the other hand, is if you only study once per week or a couple of times per week, probably part of you will be thinking, okay, this is kind of a cute hobby, but I'm not really making a lot of progress. But yeah, I think often we forget that there are 365 days in a year, and if you study every day, you will learn a lot of words, a lot of phrases, and you will be able to have conversations in the language faster than most people think is possible. And in my other videos, I talk about ways to maybe make the learning itself more fun. Another daily habit I want to mention at this point is daily listening. So that's a mistake I made early on in my language learning. I didn't listen every day. I think that listening really helps you to get used to the sounds of the language, and you kind of naturally absorb a lot of the language. And it's nice because you can do listening while you're doing other stuff. You're commuting, or taking your dog for a walk. It can be a good habit to think every evening, like approximately how many minutes did I listen today to to the target language, like content in the target language. And it's okay, you don't have to beat yourself up if you didn't listen at all that day. But yeah, you can just, it's there's a saying that if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. I think that's really true when it comes to language learning also. And yeah, if you didn't listen, maybe you can think about ways to maybe get more listening tomorrow. Like, what are the moments of the day when you could listen? Maybe you can start a daily habit of taking a small walk, or even a long walk if you have time, and at least part of the time when you're walking you can listen to something in the target language. And with the walking you will get more energy also, and you will sleep better. I mean, the longer and the faster the walking, the greater the health benefits. But I think any kind of added walking, like extra walking, will be good for health and for your language learning. Like when you're walking, you won't be able to probably look at social media or the news, or at least it's more difficult. If you have problem with social media, like I do sometimes, then walking is at least a time when you can get out of that. Speaking of social media, it's good to have learning sessions also where you don't have your smartphone with you. Obviously, it's these smart devices are quite useful in that they have dictionaries, and you can read an ebook in the target language and just press a word and the dictionary will show you the meaning. But you can maybe use your tablet for that. It may be a good idea to delete all the social media apps or distractions like that from your tablet and use that mostly for studying or only certain kind of things. What about weekly habits? First of all, I want to remind you that you don't have to use all of the habits I describe here. Like maybe at this point you can add only one new habit to your daily life. But yeah, I really recommend you make an effort to really make that into a habit, like set reminders in your calendar, or put a note on the wall. So yeah, a weekly habit that can be really helpful to boost your motivation is imagining the benefits of you being able to speak in that target language that you're learning. The benefits of getting to a really high level in that language. Like how can it benefit your work, for example? Can it help you find a more interesting job, or maybe get a little bit of a high salary, a different position in your company? Another area to consider is, if you're single, obviously speaking that language can open up new opportunities, not only with, native speakers of that language, but I would say that if you are a person who manages to get to a high level in that language, like even people who speak the same language as you, they can look at you in a different way. Like they see that, okay, this is a person who is able to reach his or her goals. That's a person who doesn't stay the same every day, just sitting on the sofa and watching the TV. That's a person with whom it may be more fun to travel. That person speaks the language of that country. Yeah, I kind of mentioned social areas, travel. Yeah, really, you can imagine the places you could visit and speak with the locals. So I hope this video was useful. Send me a comment or questions. I'm curious to hear about your language learning projects.